Hey guys, it's Charles. Happy Sunday. I wanted to send out this quick video message to you guys because I had a huge response to the picture that I posted yesterday of the client that lost over 100 pounds in a very short amount of time. And most of the questions, the personal messages that came to me on Facebook were all about how does someone really transform that quickly and that dramatically. I mean, knowing where I came from, 360 pounds, a size 52-inch waist at the very biggest, no energy, no relationships, no self-esteem, no confidence, no real focus or drive. To go from that and having literally pennies in my pocket, I mean, to go to a movie on a weekend, I would have to sometimes look through my parents' couches for change and then take it up the street to 7-Eleven, cash it in, and if that wasn't enough, then I would try to go around the neighborhood and come up with an odd job. I mean, going from that type of history, or the type of history like Ben's, where he was in college and he was overweight, and it took some really unique experiences to make him make the decision that he was going to commit to an entirely different way of life. You know, what is it that happens after that moment of impact where transformation is something that's inevitable? How do so many people that I work with achieve those things? That's what the type of questions were that I was receiving. And after just working out today, I decided I'll put together this little video for you guys so that I can kind of outline the steps that I take a person through to really transform their life. The first step is really starting to see it in your imagination the way you want it to be. It's not to deny where you are. It's not to say, well, you know, I'm 350 pounds, I'm thin. No, that's called being delusional. The truth is you see it the way you want it, and you begin to ask yourself, how am I going to bring this invisible something into the real? And to do so, to put yourself out there even when all of your family members say it's impossible, when you very well might not have someone in your circle of influence that has achieved the things you want. Now, granted, I put this whole page together to show you that the things that you want are possibilities for you. That's really why I spend so much time constructing these pictures of before and afters and videos and everything else, is to show you what's possible for you. I mean, ultimately, what is it that you want to achieve? And then here are some examples of what you can achieve. Because when I was 17, I could not find people that had achieved the very thing I wanted to. I didn't see a website or some person that was 360 that now was ripped and had a six-pack and looked and felt the way that I wanted myself to. So I really had to rely on my imagination. So step one is getting really clear on what is it you want and starting to put aside the naysaying, put aside the people that have told you it's impossible. Put aside the things that tell you that because you can't see it right now, it's not going to happen. Because the truth is that if you can see it, you can make it happen, but you're going to have to rely on something that I call faith, and that is stepping into that unseen realm, that place between where you are right now and where you're going to end up. That space in between requires an immense amount of faith, and personally, my personal philosophy says that you ask God for that. You ask God for that help. And a lot of people are going to be turned off by that. I get told all the time by people in the media I shouldn't really talk much about God because it turns people off. But you know what? If it's something that turns you off, then obviously my program's not for you. I'm not here to preach to you, but I'm here to say that you need some sense of being able to step into that invisible. And if you can't do that, I don't see how you'll go from where you are to where you want to be. You'll come up with a whole story, a whole perception of why it's impossible, and you'll start to buy into the stories of those around you that say, yeah, of course there's no way you could get to where you want to be because look where you came from. I mean, you should just accept mediocrity. I'm here to tell you, don't accept mediocrity. Don't buy into what other people are telling you to buy into, or you'll have what those other people have, which oftentimes is not much. It's a standard that's way below their potential. And rather than really look at themselves and transform and change into the thing that they're capable of being, they'd rather keep everyone at the same level because it makes it a lot easier on them rather than face the choices that they have to face if they want to change. So, get clear in your imagination of what you want. Secondly, you got to have that level of faith, that level of expectancy, that level of focus, that persistence, that relentlessness that tells you that even though you're not seeing it right now, it's coming. You know, and I'm not one of these prosperity guys that says, you know, you can sit back and write on a vision board that you're going to get wealthy and money's going to start flowing in. I don't believe that happens. I believe that real wealth, success, happiness, achievement comes from labor, comes from work. Anything worth achieving is going to require an immense amount of focus and effort. to get to where I have been, and I'm not saying this to impress you, I said to impress upon you that you can do this too. Through the storms of my life, through death of family members, through challenges at work, at school, through family situations, through life changes, through all sorts of things, you have to stay true to the disciplines that you've embraced to go after the things that you want. And that only comes by staying faithful, by keeping clear in your mind what it is you want, by not accepting the status quo, by saying just because my family hasn't done this, or just because I don't have someone around me that's done this, I know that if someone has done it once before, or even if that's not the case, if I can see it, that of course God has put that seed in my mind so that it takes root and it will grow. Because life is all about progress. I mean, life is always changing. Everything is always either getting better or getting worse. The only thing that is guaranteed is change. But progress is not guaranteed. Progress is something you have to actually focus on and direct. You've got to chart a course for. So the thing I want you to think about today is, what are the things that you want to achieve? Get very clear about those things. Step into that place in between from where you are to where you want to be, and know that if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to go out there, if you're willing to put your best foot forward, if you're willing to look at failure, things that have happened in your past that you've labeled as failures, not as who you are, but as an event, as something that's happened, not as someone that you are. Failure is never a person. It's not someone. It's not like you're a failure. It's something that happens. And the people that achieve are the people that look at those things and say, never again. Or say, I'm going to learn from this. I'm not going to repeat the same mistake again. How can I use this? What can I get from this? What lessons here? Life isn't just happening. Life is happening just, as one of my mentors, Tony Robbins, has said. So you've got to look at everything that's happening to you as something to teach you something. As it's not to destroy you. It's not God punishing you. It's not you're a bad person or karma necessarily. But it is here to teach you a lesson. And I found in my own experience, my personal philosophy says that if you don't learn something from it, you're bound to repeat it. That you're bound to have that same experience again. So, you've done a diet and you said, well, I'm just going to start eating twice a day instead of exercising. I'm just going to say I can't exercise. I'm just going to starve myself or cut my calories. Okay, well, you can try that, but you got to ask yourself, how reasonable does that sound to you when you think about really having a framework that's going to be something you can be consistent with? In other words, how long can you just eat twice a day? How long can you count points? How long can you count calories? How long can you do this or that? You've got to have a very consistent system. And that's what my work's all about. It's, of course, not about a diet. It's about having a system. So when you see these people that have lost over 100 pounds, it's because they have a system for themselves that works. It's not one thing. It's not that they're exercising 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours at night, or an hour in the morning or an hour at night, or they're only eating twice a day, or they bring little Tupperware containers all over. No, they have to have something that's going to work for them. So we come up with a very consistent set of foods, a consistent method of exercise, and most importantly, having the right mental framework about themselves so that they look at food, exercise, and themselves as something that's moving forward, as something that's making progress. And food becomes something as basic as hygiene. It's just what you do. So does exercise. And it's not what you live for, it's an adjunct to your life. You don't want it to overtake you. And I know early in my career, I almost used that level of rigidity and tenacity as an addiction, where you're doing it all the time. And the whole pursuit of your weight becomes your obsession. And you've got to be careful of that because you want to do this in a balanced way. So when you see the people that have achieved these remarkable things, know that it's a comprehensive approach they're taking. They're eating right, of course. They're exercising consistently, but they're living life. They're doing it in a way that's fun. They're doing it in a way that's manageable. They're doing it in a way to enhance the other parts of their life, not to replace them. So you want to look at your life today and say, if there's something that you've been feeling God is pushing you toward, a new relationship, a new level of health, a new successful philosophy with food or with money or whatever it is, you need to ask yourself, okay, I need to get real clear on what I want to achieve, why I want to achieve it, and then I need to find the strategy to do so. And if I can help you do that, like I've helped so many others, I'd be blessed. I'd feel honored to be able to. I also want you to know that the most important thing that you must upgrade is not the physical hardware. I kind of look at success in this whole deal as kind of like a computer. If your body's the hardware and you just chisel at the body, okay, but you don't change the software. You just work on the hardware all the time. Well, you know, if you're operating a brand new iMac, but you're using the software from 1992, obviously you're not going to get the most out of the machine. So you really want to be feeding your mind, feeding your spirit, as much as you are taking care of your body. Like I said, it's really a holistic approach to changing your life. And if you're willing to take that approach and really apply yourself in such a way so that you're upgrading everything simultaneously, not just hammering away at your body and beating it. You know, even the Bible says you should labor for 6 days and take the seventh day off. And I think that's so that you can take time to reflect and take time for your friendships and take time for your relationships and take time to get something out of the week that you just had. Okay, so hopefully that helps all those out there that are writing me and asking me, how can I lose over 100 pounds? I've tried everything. Again, don't look at failure as who you are. Look at it as an event. Look at it as something to learn from, something you can garner some insight from and not repeat. Obviously, you probably haven't worked with me yet. So if that's the case, go out, get my book, Think and Grow Thin. Reach out to my office. Go to the website, charlesdangelo.com, and reach out and we can sit down one-on-one and really discuss if you're truly ready and committed for the type of approach I take one-on-one. And if you don't feel that that's right for you, then get the book and do it independently. I can't tell you the number of people that have reached out to me to thank me for the strategies that I espouse in my book that they enacted on a personal level day after day. And now some of them have lost over 100 pounds each. All right, so God bless. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.